All right, welcome back. So on deck today is another ballistics test. So this one should be pretty simple and straightforward. What we're testing is a newer round from Hornady. It's in the critical duty line, and it's the 124 grain plus P. Hornady kind of quietly seems to have introduced this round. I noticed it by chance in the law enforcement catalog. Didn't really hear much about it. Didn't see it at SHOT last year, but lo and behold, here it is. So the critical duty has sort of a mixed bag of opinions. It is used by the FBI currently. That doesn't necessarily mean it's all that great, but it did meet the specifications that day, and they are issuing it at this time. However, critical duty's always been a little difficult to get to expand properly out of a shorter barrel. Now, granted, it's not really designed for that, but as a general purpose load, typically what we want to see is the round perform in pretty much all barrel lengths. So no matter what we're loading it in, we can just use one round across the board. It just simplifies things. So a couple issues with that. Some of the good ammunition that performs really well out of a short barrel has a tendency to sometimes overexpand out of a longer barrel, such as this 9-inch MP5. The velocity gets increased sufficiently to where it sort of puts it outside of its design parameters. So in order to get that round to perform well out of a short barrel, they have to make it very easy to expand and so on and so forth. And then when you juice the velocity up too much, it causes issues. Critical duty seems to be one of those rounds that needs to be driven faster, and when you reduce the velocity too much, which tends to happen out of a short barrel with its factory loading, it sometimes leads to some unimpressive performance. However, this 124 plus P loading is loaded in a velocity range that I think will allow this bullet design to perform decently out of our shorter barrel, so our G26, but also should perform quite well out of our longer barrel, such as the MP5 with its 9-inch barrel. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to launch one of these through into our water jugs using 4 layers of denim through the G26 and see if we get decent expansion through that 4 layers of denim. And then if we do, we're going to step it up to the MP5 with a 9-inch barrel and see what happens when we get that extra velocity that goes above the factory performance specs. Does this bullet expand too much? Does it hold together well? What's the outcome? Is this a potentially sort of a good general purpose round? Considering the popularity of pistol caliber carbines these days, with their longer barrels, you do have to pay attention to your loadings and what you're getting out of your ballistic performance, because more is not always better. But we will see how this shakes out, and let's go ahead and get this going. All right, so pretty standard setup, 4 layers of denim with our 1-gallon water jugs lined up behind there. These jugs are approximately 5 inches thick, and what I typically see is about 1.5 times penetration of that in ordnance gel. We have 4 of these lined up, so 20 inches total. If we get penetration into the 4th, we should be where we need to be in ordnance gel at the 12-inch minimum mark. If we exceed that, then we have a catch block behind there to capture the projectile so we can see what's going on. We're going to try to get these over the chronograph. Hopefully we have this set up so it doesn't cause too much splash. It's going to get into it and ruin our readings. But first up, G26. All right, let's see what happens. 1130. So it looks like we had penetration through jug 4, so I'm gonna have to dig around the block or the catch box to see if I can find it. All right, so we found this in the first layer of t-shirt in our catch box here, and the expansion looks similar to that of what I'd see out of the 135 grain critical duty if it actually got the published velocities and usually out of the G17 length barrel, which is not surprising because 1130 published velocity on the 135 is 1100, I believe, or right over. So it appears this round is constructed very similarly, but it is achieving a more effective velocity for this bullet design. So we did get full expansion, although it's not mashed back as much as, you know, if it was a bare shot, but for a heavy close shot out of a G26, that's not bad. Penetration was 4 jugs complete and lying on the first layer of t-shirt in the box, so about textbook penetration as far as trying to meet those parameters the FBI's laid out. So that's not bad performance. Let's go ahead and hit the MP5 on a bear jug test. Stress this bullet to the max to see if the extra velocity we get out of that 9-inch barrel is too much for this round. I suspect it won't be, but we'll see how it affects penetration. All right, so our setup for the MP5 is pretty much the same. 4 jugs. We're just going to cover it with a t-shirt just to try to keep the splash down, so hopefully we'll get a chronograph reading. But one layer of t-shirt should not affect the performance of the round for what we're trying to achieve. So let's see how it shakes out. 1193. I'm actually surprised we got a reading on that. And now it's giving me errors. Well, probably have to let the chronograph dry out. All right, so let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, and okay, I got a dent on 4. Let's see if it's in the shirt. Yep, there it is. All right, there we go. And you see that full expansion. It's expanded to the max. Didn't overdrive it. Actually looks really good. Yeah, overall, that's pretty good performance. That velocity reading was a little lower than what I'm used to getting. I did, in the past off camera, I had done some chrony testing with this earlier. And I was getting in the 1230 range with the MP5. So that may have been because of that water splashing on there. But either way, 9-inch barrel, bullets nowhere near to being stressed out to the max. In fact, that's really good expansion performance overall. So yeah, let's wrap this up and I'll give you some final thoughts. All right, we have just enough material. We're going to do one more test with the G26 and the 4 layers of denim, just to be thorough, since we have just enough material to do one more shot. The chronograph is going to have to dry out, so I won't have a chronograph reading on this shot, but that's okay. It's what the bullet actually does, how far it penetrates, and that's all that really matters. So let's go ahead and give this one more try. Let's see if we get consistent results, and then we'll wrap this up. All right, let's go check it out. Okay, and there we go, 4 jugs of penetration. Again, the bullet's lying in the first layer of t-shirt in the catch block, and it looks pretty similar. So I will post weights and measurements. I don't believe there's any weight loss, but I'll post measurements down below in the description. But yeah, overall, that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead, head back to the tailgate, and we'll wrap this up. All right, guys, so some final thoughts on the 124 grain plus P critical duty. Well, as compared to the 135 grain version, this appears to offer better expansion and more consistent expansion out of the shorter barrels, such as this G26. It should offer good performance out of a duty length barrel, such as the G19, G17s, and offers excellent performance out of a longer barrel, such as this MP5 with a 9-inch barrel. So for someone who's looking for a do-all load, duty load that can be used across the velocity spectrum from both your subcompact handguns as well as the MP5 length or even the 16-inch barrel weapons, this looks like this could be a really good option. If I had to choose between this and the 135 grain version, I think I'd go ahead and choose the 124. It just seems like it's a more viable option across the board. It's not as tailored specific for a duty gun as the 135 is. All right, guys, if you like this kind of content and you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe, share the video. It helps the channel out. As always, comment down below. Let me know what you guys think about all this. But please keep those comments professional, and I'll see you guys next time.